What is up, you guys? Big for another video. And today's video, we are reacting to 3 true, I'm gonna hold you up to that one, Night Shift Paranormal Horror Stories animated. Now, I'm 100% sure we've never reacted to this guy, and if we have, we've only reacted to him once. I can't really remember, but SSG Animation, shout out to this dude right here. And if it's fire, I'm gonna leave a subscribe. If it's not, probably won't come back like I did Llama Arts 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But man, just sit back. This is a very long video, so we not gonna really be pausing unless some bullshit happen or I need to yap. Wait, am I on? Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna line it back up. I was not in 60 frames, so now we're good. Okay, now let's jump into it. Was embarrassing. Story 1.
I wasn't looking for anything special when I decided to stay at the Hayen Parador. I didn't even know what it was. Technically, I wasn't done with my night shift. I had to keep working all night driving, but I was so tired I just wanted to take a little break and keep driving. I found the place by chance in an ad. History and luxury, it said. I wasn't interested in history or luxury, but it was close to my route, and if I didn't stop for a little rest, I feared falling asleep at the wheel.
Oh, you don't want that.
The building was impressive. A stone structure standing on a hill with an appearance of a medieval castle. I entered the lobby, and the first thing I noticed was the silence. Not even voices could be heard at the reception desk. I approached the desk where an older woman welcomed me. She had a professional smile, and she didn't look like a hotel receptionist on the road. Perhaps without realizing it, I had wandered into a touristy place. After I asked for the room, she looked at me confused, as if she was surprised about something. She asked me if I knew the history of the hotel, and I told her I didn't. She went to check her keys, and I noticed that she chose one in particular. She gave it to me and wished me good night. At that point, I thought I was missing something, but I was too tired to ask her, so I left. I went up.
Bro, you're never too tired to ask, bro. That's just bullshit. You're just being lazy, bro. I don't even know where this is gonna go, but already right there, you're already making excuses for dumb shit.
The second floor.
I'm scared.
The door to the room was remarkable for its wear and tear. The wood looked older than the other doors, and the lock bore marks of excessive use.
In luxury, this shit
I opened it without much thought. The room was spacious, decorated with antique furniture, with a large bed and heavy curtains blocking the light from outside. I plopped down on the bed after a quick shower and turned off the light. I fell asleep instantly. I awoke at 3:12 a.m. for no apparent reason. The silence in the room was absolute, but I sensed I was not alone. I looked toward the bathroom door, which was ajar. I knew I had closed it. I tried to convince myself that I had forgotten to do so, but something didn't add up. I lay in bed for a few seconds, looking at the bathroom door. It wasn't moving, but the opening was wide enough for me to imagine that something was on the other side watching me. I got up, turned on the light, and checked the bathroom. It was empty. I closed the door tightly this time and went back to bed.
You went back to bed after seeing an actual real-life Area 51 alien? Are we sure you're gonna go back? How could you go back to sleep after seeing some shit like that? This guy, oh man, that
was cold, but I didn't care. I tucked myself in and tried to sleep. Suddenly, I heard a thud, as if something had fallen.
I mean, the aliens.
I looked over at the desk. The chair, which had been perfectly placed, was now on its side. I got up again. I looked around the room for something out of place, but everything seemed in order except for the chair. I straightened it up and tried to convince myself that maybe I had left it misplaced before, but I hadn't.
People who think like this actually exist, by the way. What's wrong with you? What do you mean? Like, listen to him. Listen to him, y'all.
Tried to convince myself that maybe I had left it misplaced before.
You just woke up out of your sleep hearing it move. How could you possibly think that? Y'all know what I mean? Y'all gotta stop this bullshit, bro. I wonder if the quality's all the way up. Oh, it is.
But I hadn't. I don't
understand these people, man.
I sat on the bed and looked around.
You woke up.
The curtains were closed and the door secured. Everything was as it should be, but something in the room felt wrong. I lay back down and turned off the light, leaving only the bathroom light. I tried to ignore the noises, but it was impossible.
How does it left?
The creaking of the floor started again, closer this time. It was as if something heavy was slowly walking towards the bed. Suddenly, the curtains moved as if a gust of air had shaken them. But the windows were closed. I got up suddenly and went to them, checking the locks. They were secure. As I was checking, I heard a sound right behind me. A low
Sound
whisper.
waves, bro.
I turned immediately, but there was nothing. Everything was exactly as I had left it. Except for one detail. The bathroom lights were flickering. I walked slowly toward the bathroom. I pushed open the door and watched as the lights went out all at once. I stood there in the dark, trying to figure out what was going on, when suddenly the bathroom door slammed shut in front of me. I jumped back, almost tripping over the bed. The knock echoed through the room, followed by absolute silence. My breathing was the only thing that could be heard.
Why aren't you laughing?
I tried to open the bathroom door.
What are you opening it for? Whatever's in there, what you seen an actual alien, whatever you saw in there, why would you want to go in there after it shut it clearly don't want you in there and you jerking the doorknob?
I pounded on it with my fist, screaming, but it wouldn't budge. Suddenly,
why would it?
A sound began to emanate from inside the bathroom. A whisper that gradually turned into a low, harsh laugh. I backed up to my bed, not taking my eyes off the door.
Bro, why do you keep going back to your bed? Go back home. How much more? He want the I almost said zombie. He want the actual alien to just do something to him, like.
Then I heard footsteps.
Or something.
This time, they were not coming from the bathroom, but from the hallway outside the room. I ran to the front door and looked through the peephole.
That's not
I saw no one, but the footsteps continued, and they sounded louder and louder, closer and closer. I turned the lock to try to get out, but the key wouldn't turn. It was as if something was keeping it locked. A feeling in my chest made me turn toward the room. The curtains were wide open, and behind the window, I saw a dark, motionless shadow.
Do you even want to question if this actually happened? Because there's just no way you see. I don't even know what to describe this SpongeBob mutant. You know what I mean? This is a creature from literally This is probably like an enemy that SpongeBob and Patrick had to defeat on some alternate timeline in the deep blue sea, because this is just not it, bro.
I could not breathe properly. I went to the window, ready to open it and scream for help. But before I could get there, the lights in the room began to flicker. The shadow disappeared, but now it was somewhere else. The corner next to the closet. It was tall with a barely human form. It had no eyes or face, but I knew it was looking at me. I backed towards the bed looking for something to defend myself with. I grabbed the desk lamp and held it in front of me as if it were a weapon. The figure didn't move, but the murmuring returned. It was as if dozens of voices were speaking at the same time.
Man, he's hallucinating.
The monster wasn't speaking as he did not have a mouth, but he was listening too. He was engulfed by the voices. They were saying something, but I couldn't understand what. It was as if they were speaking another language.
I was about to say.
Suddenly, the figure lunged toward me.
Probably was speaking Arabic.
I screamed and hit it with the lamp, but it passed through it like smoke.
Yeah, he's hallucinating.
I felt an intense cold in my chest as if something was piercing me. I staggered and fell to the ground, gasping. I got up as best I could and ran to the front door. This time, the key turned and the door opened. I stepped out into the hallway, but the footsteps were still chasing me. I looked back and saw the shadow moving forward, faster than before. I ran down the stairs, screaming for help. I reached the lobby, but it was empty. No one was there. I hid behind the receptionist desk, trembling as I heard footsteps descending the stairs. Suddenly, everything stopped. There was no noise, no shadow, no whispering. I slowly got up and saw that the front door of the Parador was open. I ran out to my car and started up without looking back. I didn't go back for my things. I never wanted to know what exactly had happened in room 22. I searched the internet for information, and what I found confirmed my suspicions. Several people had reported similar experiences.
Do y'all want me to believe, like, that actually, like I said, if anything, like, because to be honest, y'all, I'm not going to even lie to y'all boys. I don't really believe in ghosts or, like, I don't really believe in it, only because it really hasn't given me a reason to believe it. I guess that's why I don't believe in that. I don't know. I don't know what I think. Like, I'm kind of like, don't believe in ghosts, but like spirits, they kind of go hand to hand. So it's hard to really, like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really know for sure, but there's just no way. Maybe though.
In that room.
I don't know.
Some even claim to have been attacked by something they could not describe.
No, that
Since that night, I never stayed in old hotels again. And every time I pass near Heen, I make sure to take a different...
Wait, okay, this confirms that the story's not real? Or maybe he's gonna say... Bro, why didn't you just check the hotel lobby footage? Call the police and have them pull up that footage from that night. And if they say the cameras don't work, you gotta sue them. Because that's against the law. Your cameras gotta work. Well, maybe not. I thought it was like a law, like if you were at an establishment, you need to have those cameras working at every angle. So the fact that you didn't just pull the footage, yo, this thing chased me. It was running down the hallway. I know what happened. He threw something at it and went through its body. That's how I know you was hallucinating. You probably had some acid before. So I don't know. I can't believe this one.
Different route. Some things are better not to face again. And room 22 is one of them.
Yeah, no.
For the sake of the story, some parts of where the Parador is or how it works have been changed. This story is based on the chilling paranormal tales surrounding the Parador de Jaén in Spain.
In Spain, I believe it now. It happened in Spain. I believe it. Sorry, y'all. I believe this story now. It happened in Spain, and there's a picture of it. My eyes teared up. See, because I did search if it. I ain't gonna lie, he got my sub. We gonna sub to him mid-vid because I'm the type of guy that I don't hate. So we gonna sub up because that I always love them when they actually add the proof of like some actual visual realistic. So this is the lobby. This is crazy. Yo. And he said it happened in Spain. I believe
this story is based on the chilling paranormal tales surrounding the Parador de Jaén in Spain.
Yep,
a historic building perched atop Santa Catalina Hill.
Yep.
Once a medieval castle and now a luxury hotel, the Parador has a reputation for being haunted by restless spirits. Guests have reported strange noises like footsteps echoing through empty corridors, doors creaking open by themselves, and inexplicable cold spots in certain rooms.
What does that? I hear that all the time in like paranormal. What does it mean for it to be cold? What does that do? Because I'm getting cold, my body cold. I took a little X, wanted a ton to pull up again, making a little push stretch. You know that song timestamp it right now in the car. I haven't done that in a while, but if you know that song, timestamp it. What does it mean? Someone let me know that no ghosts. What does it mean if it's cold?
Been by themselves and inexplicable cold spots in certain
what is
rooms.
That? What does that have to do with anything?
Room 22 in particular is infamous for eerie happenings, with many claiming to hear sobs and whisperings during the night, believed to belong to the ghost of a woman who met a tragic end centuries ago.
Oh, wow.
The legend doesn't end there. Another ghastly figure said to haunt the Parador is that of a Moorish prince who died during the Reconquista. His sorrowful figure is rumored to appear near the walls, staring into the distance as if mourning his lost kingdom. Hotel staff and visitors alike have shared accounts of objects moving on their own and shadowy figures disappearing around corners. Hey guys, we noticed that only a small portion of videos daily feature animation.
Okay, that first story, I don't know. I kind of believe it now. It happened in Spain. I believe that shit.
I still remember working the night shift as a security guard at the Crescent Oaks Hotel. My job was to patrol the halls, check that the doors were locked, and take a few calls from guests who were still awake. It was a quiet place, at least during the day. The nights had something different.
Werewolves?
I couldn't explain it, but I always felt a little restless when the sun disappeared. My routine was simple. I would walk the first floor, check the main corridors, then go up the service stairs to the upper floors. Most nights pass without incident. There's not much that can happen during a hotel at night, right? The hotel had 5 floors, nothing extraordinary. Comfortable rooms, a small bar, a pool that closed early. The maintenance areas, on the other hand, looked like a maze of narrow corridors and low ceilings. They were the areas I avoided most. There was no reason to go there unless something was wrong. It wasn't that it was destroyed or anything, but I don't know. There was something about those huge hallways with warm yellowish light that made me uncomfortable. And to be fair, the other employees as well. That night began like any other. The clock struck 11 p.m. when I started my first round. It was just another night at the hotel. Around midnight, as I was checking the 3rd floor hallway, I heard a noise. It was something brief, like a thud coming from the service staircase.
You gotta check that out.
It wasn't unusual for someone to come down late for drinks or something, but I hadn't seen anyone on the cameras. I walked over to the stairwell door and opened it. The light in the stairwell was flickering, which wasn't unusual.
That's their go-to.
The building had its years, although
I'm about to say,
it wasn't
like, that
right
could
either.
literally mean anything.
I was going to have to let the manager know the next day. I descended a couple of steps to make sure no guests were missing, but all was quiet. As I walked back up the hallway, I heard it again. This time it was different. A rhythmic sound like footsteps. I looked down, and that's when I saw it.
So what?
A human shadow slowly descended the stairs.
This is Kingdom Hearts. This is Kingdom Hearts, man. This is that one dude. I don't know. I ain't played Kingdom Hearts. Let me know if that one to be a series. Probably not. Well, maybe. It depends. Kingdom Hearts, bro. I played a little bit. It's this dude that looked just like this in the game. This who it is. It ain't nothing.
Just below where I was standing. There was no way anyone could have passed without me seeing it. I froze. The shadow stopped as if it knew I was watching.
Like I said, I think this is just
then
mainly
it began to move
hallucinations.
faster, moving up the steps
See?
toward me. Without thinking, I closed the door and ran. At the time, I didn't think it was anything paranormal.
Oh
I just
my
acted
gosh.
on
You were
reflex.
like a Toy Story character.
Someone was coming down the stairs and suddenly coming up the stairs very fast. I ran into the main hallway, trying to think clearly. The more I tried to figure out what had happened, the more frightened I became. There was something or someone on the stairs, and it wasn't a guest. The cameras had not recorded anyone entering or leaving. Everything pointed to the fact that someone had managed to sneak in. But then, why not report it? Something inside me told me this wasn't normal. As I made my way to the maintenance area, I opened an emergency door to take shelter. The shrill sound of the alarm filled the air. I cursed under my breath, knowing that I would now have to explain to the manager why I had set it off. But at that moment, I didn't care.
Oh,
when I turned to look down the hallway, my heart almost stopped. There it was again. The shadow.
Bro, you hallucinating.
This time it wasn't on the stairs. It was at the end of the hallway, motionless. Its feet didn't touch the floor. There was no sound of footsteps. It just stood.
Okay, and even if I had to cut off here, bro. Even if ghosts did exist, you wouldn't even see it. Like all these stories, like ghost stories, like come about. But if anything, you would just hear things. There's no way you're going to see a ghost unless you're like hallucinating and you thought you saw. Because that's happened to me before. I ain't gonna lie, I will admit, bro, I think I said this in another one, maybe a while ago, but I hallucinated one time. One time I was super sick. I had a super high fever. This was back when I used to live in Chicago. I had a fever and I was in the top bunk. I don't know, literally light was beaming. And I thought I saw, I'm not gonna make this up, I thought I saw a guy that resembled Abraham Lincoln. Now, at this time, I did not know who Abraham Lincoln was. I was probably like 5 years old, 6 years. But I do remember this. He was sitting in like a chair. He was like this. He had a big ass beard and like a top hat, but he kind of looked like a figure. That's a hallucination. I know that shit wasn't real. But that, if I had to put any time where any ghosts happen or anything like that, would be that only time. But yeah. Nigga, I worked at, y'all know I used to work at fucking Goodwill, bitch ass company. Nigga, they shit used to creak, used to hear all type of noises because the stuff that we get donated, they get donated. A lot of people have passed away and their houses need to get cleaned out. A lot of that stuff is like dead people's merchandise. So if anything, Goodwill might be one of those, but like I said, I've never seen anything, and if you have, it's probably hallucination. I can't lie. Mine was a hallucination for sure, pretty sure. But anybody else, if you got any stories like that, let me know in the comments.
Stood there,
I'ma just
waiting.
be real.
Well, I wasn't going to wait to see what it would do.
See, there's no way you see.
I ran
ghosts.
as fast
like,
as I could down the maintenance
just,
aisles, dodging boxes and stacked
shit,
equipment.
like you would just hear it.
I felt the adrenaline rushing through my body, but also something else. The feeling that I was being followed.
Yeah, like maybe a feel.
Halfway down the aisle, I tripped over a coiled hose on the floor. My body hit the ground, and a sharp pain shot through my right leg.
Oh.
I tried to get up quickly, but the time I lost when I fell was enough for something to change. The alarm was still sounding, but the hallway was silent. I turned slowly, expecting to see the hallway empty. Instead, it was there. Closer this time. The shadow wasn't moving, but its shape was beginning to change. It was as if it had no defined body, as if it were made of smoke trapped in a space that didn't understand the laws of physics. My leg hurt, but I forced myself to get up. I picked up a metal bar that was lying nearby and held it tightly.
If it's a shadow, what
I knew
in
I
the
couldn't
world
hit
is that
something
gonna
that
do?
wasn't even solid.
That's what I'm saying.
But I needed to hold on to something. Anything. As I made up my mind to run again, I heard a noise. It was something deep, guttural, like a growl that echoed from the walls themselves. The sound made me recoil, and I stumbled over a box. The shadow moved forward. The shadow moved fast, as if it were alive. It stretched out what appeared to be arms and reached for me before I could react. Something cold wrapped around my neck and lifted me off the ground. I tried to hit it with the metal.
Bro, get the fuck out of here, bro. I do not, bro. A ghost grabbed your neck and lifted you in the air. Who do you think I am, an idiot? Like, bro. There is no documentation on ghost. Like, I even searched it. I said, is ghost real? Nigga, Google don't even know. AI don't know. So, I guess, like I said, it just has to be like an experience. I don't think ghosts can touch you or like you can see a goddamn ghost. If anything, if there were ghosts and stuff like that, I just think you would hear stuff or like, you think you hear like a floor creak. If anything, ghosts grabbing you like Darth Vader, it's not happening.
Metal bar, but it was like going through smoke. I couldn't breathe.
What?
The pressure was unbearable.
He's gonna die to a ghost?
My feet kicked in the air as I tried to free myself. I felt the air escaping my lungs and my vision dimming.
What?
In a last desperate attempt, I punched what appeared to be its face. Although it had no effect, it suddenly let go of me. I fell to the ground like a sack of potatoes, gasping for air. The shadow disappeared, but the hallway was still in darkness.
No one came out their room?
The alarm was still sounding, but now it sounded far away. As if I was so dazed that I had forgotten everything around me. I tried to crawl toward the emergency exit, but my broken leg made every movement an ordeal.
You broke his leg?
The next minute was a blur. All I remember was reaching the end of the hallway, just as I felt something grab me from behind. I fell face down, screaming, but there was no one there. My hands desperately searched for the exit door. I managed to open it and crawled out. When I was finally outside, I felt I was out of danger. I crawled away from the building as fast as I could, crawling on the asphalt until my body gave out.
Damn.
I lay there, looking up at the sky, trying to process what had happened.
Guy?
I knew I couldn't go back. A motorist found me a couple of hours later.
He's smiling on the ground?
911.
He's sleeping
At the
good.
hospital, I was told I had a broken leg and several strange marks on my neck and arms.
I need pictures. Only
When
way
they
I'm gonna
asked me
believe
what had
this.
happened, I didn't say anything.
No way.
No one would believe me.
No, but you gotta tell people.
I resigned from the hotel.
If it really happened, wouldn't you want to tell people, you goofy ass people? If he showed me pictures of like shit getting murked up and I just don't see ghosts really doing that. I don't know, bro. Because I have never experienced
sent an email to the
anything,
manager
bro.
saying I would not return. He never contacted me again, and I did nothing to find out what had become of the place.
Right.
I don't know what happened that night. I have no idea if my manager already knew what was going on.
Maybe it was the manager.
If it was the first time. I just know that I really mean what I said.
Write a
I
book.
will never set foot in that hotel again in my life.
You gotta have
Ever.
something. Okay, you don't expect me to believe that that was the real. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what was this footage right here? What was the point of this? Was this
I will
bro?
never set foot in that hotel again in my life.
It can't be.
Ever.
I mean, the way it was described. This ain't enough for me to believe it. You should have showed the marks. You should have showed documents of you going to the hospital. Someone give me like an updated story on this, because this is weird. Like I said, if ghosts, which I'm kind of in the middle with it. I'm kind of in the middle with it. Because people, when they speak about this stuff, it is hard for you to even believe it. But you gotta come up with something. Like, this is not enough for me. Like, nigga, even if it was a ghost, you couldn't record it. You couldn't put your hand, like, you wouldn't, like, okay, let's say if this was him recording it. Nigga, you cannot, there's no way ghost, you're going to be able to capture it with a fucking camera. Right? The ghost is not going to be just sitting there chilling, waiting for you to record him. I don't know. How do you so or maybe people on acid. Like, that's the only way I could think. Like, but if this really did happen to bro, I would have wrote a book. I would have went on a podcast, something. Someone need to hear my story. This shit like, if this really did happen to me, it would be kind of crazy, because I would be like, how would people believe me? But at some point, bro, I'm just gonna tell the world my story. That's for anything, bro. If anything happened to me, I'm telling the world. I'm not gonna sit here and go, what if no one believes me, or no one's gonna believe? At some point, bro, if it's your story, you gotta make somebody. Like, I know it's gonna be hard for people. Like, if I had superpowers, I could just show people I have superpowers. I don't know, because if someone like, oh, you don't have superpowers, show me, and I just show them. Oh, why you have superpowers? So it's like, you know,
I've always had a fixation on mysteries.
it's
that
kind of hard for you to. You
prefer
can't
to
really
ignore.
do nothing.
It's as if they were there waiting.
But I wouldn't be anonymous, and I wouldn't wait. The Paranormal story. Okay, I thought it had the name, bro. And then you want to be anonymous about the story, nigga? Fuck all that. Tell your story and be. And this is my name. This happened on this day. On this day, I was this way, and I worked this how, bro. Tell your story, bro. If it really happened, that's why I don't. It's kind of hard for me to believe this. Like, if that happened to me, I would want people to know that. Like,
to be discovered.
I don't know, maybe
but
y'all
no
different,
one had
bro.
the courage
Something
to
bad
face
happened to
them.
me, I'm telling the world.
That's why I ended up traveling to Santiago, Chile. I had read about the strange phenomenon occurring
That
on
shit
Line
crazy.
5 of the subway between Baquedano and Parque Bustamante stations. Rumor had it that every Sunday at 11:45 p.m., trains passing through that section would stop for 15 minutes. Although officially that route was only supposed to
Why
take
she a
3.
different color? She must be in the
Subway
shade.
employees did not talk about it, and the records showed that the trains were on time. However, passengers who had been there told stories of lights going out, unbearable cold, and something they couldn't explain. So, there I
Better
was,
figure
on
it
an
out.
almost empty platform at Baquedano, waiting for the last train of the night. I had prepared my camera and flashlight, determined to record whatever happened. When the train arrived, there were only a couple of passengers who got off immediately. I was left all alone in the carriage. The doors closed and the train moved forward normally. But as soon as we entered the tunnel, everything changed. The train came to a screeching halt. The light flickered and went out, leaving me in complete darkness.
Wow.
For a moment, I thought it was a technical problem, something routine. But when the lights didn't return and the silence lengthened, I felt a discomfort that was hard to ignore. I took out my camera and started recording, pointing
so
it
we
at the
need that
windows,
footage.
the seats, and the aisle of the
So
carriage.
we need that footage.
Everything seemed normal, but that strange feeling remained. I walked
See,
slowly
look, I just
to
heard
the
a noise, and I'm not finna a ghost is in my room. No, I just heard a noise. You know?
other end of the carriage, stepping
Didn't see that. Put
carefully so
pictures
as
up.
not to stumble in the dark. Suddenly, a fit of coughing shook me. It was as if something invisible was filling my lungs, shutting them down. I bent over, struggling to catch my breath as my throat burned. Then the cold came. It wasn't the typical subway breeze. It was a bone-chilling cold, as if I were in a cold room. That's when I saw the first lights. They were not coming from the ceiling of the carriage, but from the darkness.
Oh, no.
Little bright dots that gradually multiplied until I realized that
Lightning
they were
bugs,
not lights.
potentially?
They were eyes.
Nah, bro.
Dozens, maybe hundreds, staring at me from every corner of the wagon. They were not human. I knew that immediately. The figures that accompanied them were blurry,
This lit at
like
Kingdom Hearts.
ill-defined shadows, but their movements were real. They glided between the seats and aisles, slowly approaching me. I backed up until I hit the wall of the carriage, my camera shaking in my hands.
Then how long does this transpire? Because like I said earlier in the video where I've had my little like hallucination or like ghost experience, bro, it literally lasted for not even 2 seconds. It was like it was a brief second. How long is this happening before you really, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how long does ghost interactions really go for? Like, there's no way. I don't believe it, bro.
I turned on the flashlight and pointed it at them, but the light didn't affect them. The eyes were still glowing, and the figures continued to approach.
But you want me to believe
emitting
you
a
sitting here
low
staring at them?
sound, like a whisper mixed with a growl.
Take a picture.
I tried
or
to open
something.
the train doors, but they were locked. I tapped on the window with the handle of the flashlight, but the glass
wouldn't
didn't
think about
even
no picture
crack.
this time.
My despair increased with every second as the figures came closer and closer. One of them raised a long, thin arm as if about to touch me. I backed up even further, pressing myself against the corner, my breath hitching. That's when something brushed my leg. I looked down and saw one of those shadows crawling toward me, its eyes locked on mine. The shadow lunged at me, and I felt a sharp pain in my arm. It was as if a handful of blades were piercing my skin. I screamed, trying to push it away, but its strength was surprising. I managed to hit it with the flashlight, and although it didn't seem to damage it, it retreated for a moment. I had no time to recover. Another figure lunged from the side, slamming me to the floor of the wagon. I could feel its cold, rough hands gripping me while its teeth, sharp as needles, dug into my shoulder. The pain was unbearable. Desperate, I kicked with all my might, managing to push her away for a second. I staggered to my feet and ran to the other end of the wagon, but there was no way out. The figures were moving fast, surrounding me. I pulled out my camera and started filming again, pointing it at them. I wanted to have some proof, anything to show that this was happening. But deep down, I knew it wasn't going to do any good.
What the fuck?
The light in my eyes blinded me as the shadows cornered me. One of them lunged towards me, and I felt its claws tear at my skin. I tried to defend myself, but each movement was slower, as if the cold was paralyzing me. The whispering grew louder, turning into a chorus of voices that seemed to come from everywhere. Their words made no sense, but were filled with palpable malice. A larger figure fell on me, crushing me to the ground. It bit into my side, tearing a scream of pain from me. Each bite, each scratch was like liquid fire burning inside me. I closed my eyes, waiting for it all to end. Suddenly, the train jerked, and the lights came on all at once. The figures disappeared as if they had never been there. I lay on the ground, panting, my body covered with marks that didn't seem quite real, but the pain was. The train stopped at Parque Bustamante, and the doors opened with a mechanical sound that now seemed unreal after what had just happened. I staggered out, my breathing heavy and my body covered in marks. Every step was agony, but all that mattered was finding the conductor. I walked across the empty platform to the front cab. I pounded hard on the door using what little energy I had left. The door opened after a moment, and a middle-aged man scowled at me. "What's wrong?" he asked with obvious annoyance, as if he was used to dealing with drunks or vagrants. Something on the train," I stammered, pointing to the empty car behind me. My voice was shaking so badly I could barely understand myself.
Police, bro.
I was attacked. There were things in there. The driver looked me up and down. His expression changed from irritation to surprise, then to something more akin to concern. "What happened to you? You're covered in blood." "What I'm telling you!" I shouted, desperate. "Something in the tunnel. The lights went out. There were shadows, eyes. I was bitten, scratched." The driver frowned, clearly confused. The lights didn't go out at any time and the train didn't stop. Of course it stopped. I was stuck in there for 15 minutes. Are you on drugs?
See?
Drunk? No! I came to investigate what happens between Baquedano and this station. I read about the phenomenon. The train stopping, the lights going out. What time is it? 11:53 o'clock. The driver nodded slowly, and his expression became more serious. That's not the time when that happens. If you were really investigating, you know what happens on the last round of the train, not this one. No, it can't be. Look, I even recorded it. I took the camera with trembling hands and checked the files. There was nothing. Not a single second was recorded. I recommend you leave and never come back to this line. Never. Before I could answer him, the man started the train engine and continued on his way.
I would have put my life on the line. I would have, realistically, bro, because, I would have went back there. First of all, propped up that camera, press record, and then started getting jumped on by some Kingdom Hearts enemies. You covered in blood. You should have went to the police. That's what I'm saying. There's so much more you could do if this really happened. Just don't believe it. Show me the proof.
I stood there bewildered and in pain, not knowing what to do.
Go to the fucking
When I got to my hotel, I checked the camera. It had recorded nothing, not a single second. I never went back to the Santiago Metro after that night. I didn't even go back to Chile or do any other paranormal investigation. Now I am simply afraid of everything related to it.
Yeah, that last one 1,000% of that. I know for a living fact that last story did not happen.
Recorded nothing.
I just don't see how ghosts are jumping you, beating you, making you bleed, because there's no way. Bro, ghosts are not even in the same, what do you call it, realm? Or like same dimension. How is it jumping through dimensions, beating people's asses? That just doesn't make sense. Now, the one where you're hearing noises, I ain't gonna lie, that could make a little bit more sense. But even if it is a ghost, you wouldn't see it, or it wouldn't even go through your dimension. Because ghosts are in the other world. Spirits, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. Let me know what y'all think about paranormal and ghost stories, spirits, and all that. Let me know how you feel about that, man. So, hope y'all enjoyed this, man. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. And